The longest summer of Chet Holmgren's life. And it might actually be longer than a summer. Because let's be real. Even if next season Chet comes out and he looks like he improved his offensive game to a whole nother degree, where he is next season averaging 23, 24 points per game, it'll always be in the back of his mind. It'll always be in the back of the mind of the consumer, the watcher, that this don't really matter until he can do that against the Spurs. Because whatever that dynamic is between him and Wembanyama, or Wembanyama and him, got him fearing to play basketball offensively. I'm not a Chet Holmgren guy. He's not. I don't hate him, obviously, but he's not one of, I got my guys. I got the Chris Pauls. I got the list goes on of my favorite guys. I respect Chet Holmgren's game. Like, he truly is one of the best defensive players in the world. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I respected his offensive game, too, because he was averaging 17, 18 points, and doing it in 3 different levels in a lot of cases. But I was so disappointed in him. So disappointed that I knew that the conversation around him was going to be so crazy and warranted. But at the same time, I kind of felt bad. Andrew Schleck put together or posted a video of the post-game locker room interview with Chet Holmgren. And obviously they did just lose in game 7, so the emotions are high. But he looked so defeated. The octave levels in his voice was at the lowest I've ever heard it before. So I kind of felt bad, y'all, because he recognizes how bad it was for him. He has to feel like he let the team down to be this close and to lose, and for him to take less shots than Kenrich Williams when Kenrich Williams played 1/10 of the amount of minutes. So I know he feels bad. So I feel for him, dog. But he also got to accept what just happened. And it is my job as a piece of the media to talk about that. So, Chet, I'm wishing you the best, big fella. Go to a deserted island, which I know you could just buy with your $200 million contract. You signed. Go to a deserted island, just chill for a month. Don't even look at social media. Don't go on Instagram. Don't go on Twitter. Don't do nothing. Take your time for yourself. Be with your family and everything. There was times where he straight up on purpose, and I'm not even exaggerating when I say this, on purpose decided not to be a part of the play. There was possession now I may not forget for a very long time, where it's the fourth quarter. The Thunder are making a little comeback to try to make it interesting to win this game. And the Spurs do an amazing job defensively. We get down to, 5 seconds on the shot clock. The ball is swinging. It eventually hits Jay Will on the left wing. And Jay Will pump fakes. And as the Spurs are in rotation, he's expecting to one more to the corner. But instead of Chet being in the corner, he was under the basket waiting for someone else to shoot to try to get an offensive rebound. What did Jay Will have to do? He had to take a step up and take a mid-range jump shot that missed everything. That's the type of things that happen. There are many times where the ball touched Chet Holmgren's hands and he did not look like a basketball player. He looked like somebody from the crowd that just had to play because the other team didn't have enough players. You've been at the Y. You've been at the gym where you got 9 and the dude on the other end that's missing layups by himself. You ask him if he want to hoop, even though you know he can't hoop because you just needed to run 5s. Chet looked like that guy. The ball hit his hands, and instead of jab stepping or looking for an opportunity to create for himself or looking for an opportunity to create for others, he gave it back to the person that gave it to him and stood around. I know that Chet Holmgren's game is not one of the ones that you give him the ball in the post because he's being guarded by Devin Vassell. I recognize that. Hell, Devin Vassell ate his lunch multiple times in this series by weak side blocks and when Chet got offensive rebounds. But Chet had always been a plus 3-point shooter. That was one of the most interesting things about him. Great defensive player, and he's 7'1" and can shoot it. My goodness. He was so indecisive that he had 3-point shots blocked in this series. And I think eventually that got into his brain. And that's why I mentioned earlier about the long load-up times from Keldon Johnson and Jay Will, because they take forever and they still are able to get the shot off. Chet Holmgren. Again, let me pull this up real quick because I don't want to speak out of turn about your Chet, man. Because again, I honestly, you might turn into one of my guys because I don't like when people get beat up this bad. You might turn into one of my guys. In the regular season, Chet Holmgren attempted 3.5 threes per game. 3.5 threes per game. So again, postseason is a lot different. But if he were to stay to his normal shot attempts in the postseason, 3.5, 7, 10.5. 14, You keep doing the math. How many three-point attempts would they have been in a 7-game series? Whatever that number is, he ain't even close to it. Matter of fact, you like Kenny, bro. You almost 30. You can't do 3.5 times 7. Nope. So I'm bringing out the calculator. 24.5 3-pointers if he just stuck to his regular volume in the regular season. From the regular season to the postseason. 7-game series. 36%, 37% three-point shooter. Chet Holmgren attempted 11 3-pointers in 7 games. 11. And in the closeout game, literally 0. 0. That's not us and nobody else. The defense is the defense. He still, even yesterday, even when his offense was going, he's still like one of the best defense players in the world. I can't take that away from him because you can't. He literally is that guy. But for him to not be able to get any shots up on the rim, and some of the times he is straight up open and he didn't look. And I got to give credit to the broadcast because there are times where Jamal Crawford says like, that's your shot. And he didn't take it. The one time he decided to dribble, he tripped over his own feet and turned the ball over. That ain't going to be good for the mental state. So they are really disappointed in Chet Holmgren. Everybody's disappointed in Chet Holmgren. If there's anything, I like the leadership from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, where this morning, as I record this episode, they did their end of season press conferences, and he was asked about Chet. And he talked about how motivated him and Chet have always been to take the wins and the losses and use it as fuel for the next games and so on, and that he believes that Chet will come back better than ever. So that's very good leadership from Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. But I've never been in a high-stake game like this in my life, right? You know, the sophomore B team, which really shouldn't exist, has never played in a win-or-go-home game. When I was a starter on freshman B, we never had a game like that. Well, we had the Christmas tournament, I guess, which is one game elimination. So I don't know what it's like to be in a locker room like that where a guy you're relying on was unreliable. And I wonder if I was Shai, or even if I was Brooks Barnhauser, the guy that don't play, how would I felt about what Chet just did? Because you obviously have the personal connection. Y'all been teammates forever. Y'all have gone on 1,000 flights together, 1,000 different cities, gone shopping. You know, how do you deal with that? Or maybe you don't. One of the questions that Shai got asked, again, talking to Shai's leadership, and Shai had a really good game 7, even if the first 6 games he wasn't the normal version of himself. He was asked, what type of off-season game plan can you give to Chet Holmgren so he cannot let this happen again? And his response was, well, I didn't have a good series either. And I don't think that Chet going to give me no off-season game plan, right? Putting them all on the same playing field, because Chet is as important to this team as me. So again, I think that all of his answers were the right answers. He also was doing the Wembanyama, let me hear the question and think about it for 30 seconds before I respond, which I think is always interesting because they want to give the best answer possible, I guess. So Shai just needed somebody else to come along for the ride. And before this game 7, I said that, you know, Shai again was not having a good series by his own standard, but none of that will matter if they go into game 7 and they win and he has a normal performance. And half of that happened. He had a normal performance, right? He was really good. He was electric. The shots that he took were really, really difficult, but they were falling. But he just needed one more person. And that one more person, in a lot of people's case, would be the guy that's making a max contract if it's made All NBA, but it wasn't. I saw a tweet this morning. Oh man, I should have screenshotted it. Talking about the All NBA teams. All NBA third team this season. Let me pull this up real quick. Hopefully I can do this really fast. All NBA third team this season was Tyrese Maxey, Jamal Murray, Jalen Johnson, Jalen Duren, and Chet Holmgren. Somebody said, I want them to give all the award back right now. I'm going to give Maxey a small pass. He did get swept, by the way. He did get swept, but more times than not, Maxey was fine. Jamal Murray wasn't great in the postseason. Jalen Johnson wasn't great in the postseason. Jalen Duren was the opposite of great. He was that. And then again, Chet Holmgren specifically in this series. So maybe the whole third team struggled in the postseason. I think that's pretty interesting. But also some people above them in the second team also struggled too. But it is funny to see that list and be like, damn, these are our 11th through 15th best players this season, and all of them was bad in the postseason.
Hit subscribe for more news, highlights, and analysis from the NBA on NBC.